Now, this surely has some lessons for all young people now and for those who are growing up in ordinary administrative jobs. Can you run ordinary civil administrations in the same kind of way that you ran your armies and took them to victory?
Yes, I think you can. Now, I think one of the big problems I had in my life from early on when I was a rebel, and I was a rebel in the army, as I moved up the army, I was a rebel. Whenever most people would say, yes, sir, I said, no, sir, you see, I didn't agree. And once or twice I was pretty rocky on the perch. In fact, when I was battalion commander, serving under Brigadier, he wrote on me an annual report which was quite dreadful. You see, we have in the army, every year you have an annual report which you have to see an initial. Well, I read this initial and I didn't care. And he really said, this chap is a dreadful person. He thinks he's a cat's whiskers. He's very, very far from the cat's whiskers. Now, that went up to the Commander-in-Chief.
Yeah.
And the Commander-in-Chief looked at this, and he seized his pen, and he said, I think Lieutenant Colonel Montgomery is a very good officer. I don't agree with this report. I think he's likely to rise to the highest ranks of the army. That was that. He then seized his pen and wrote his annual report on the Brigadier and sacked him.
Now,
that's the thing.
Yes. Then in civilian life you think that you can in fact do the same kind of methods and techniques of leadership as you used in the army?
Yes, now that's a very interesting question. I think the first thing you've got to do is to conquer yourself.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you, I've seen a lot of schools here, I see, and I'm seeing one more tomorrow. I mean that if you are going to handle men,
and women?
And women too, which is much more difficult. If you're going to handle men and women, you've got, and control them in life, you've got first to learn to command and control yourself, you see. And in other words, put it differently, you say to conquer yourself. Now, I was never told that when I was a young boy, that I must learn to control myself. Never told me. I should have been told. In fact, I said to a school the other day, you can't say that. I've told you now, you see. And if you can't command and control yourself and conquer yourself, you won't be able to do this to other people. That's the first thing I learned, you see. Well, I then learned that you've got to, if you're handling large bodies of men, or even small bodies, you've got to get them with you. They must be with you, see, and feel that their best interests are secure in your hands, that you want nothing for yourself, nothing. You are entirely out to do the best you can for them. Now, if you can do that, then soldiers will follow you. Of course, all soldiers will follow a successful general. They like it. And the curious thing is that soldiers would accept casualties provided they win. They'll do it. But they do like, you see, what soldiers don't like is if the battlefield is left lying about with dead bodies and things. They don't like it. They like the dead to be collected and reverently buried and all that sort of thing. They're very curious people, soldiers. See, they like that.
Perhaps they're just ordinary human beings, you know?
They're ordinary human beings, just like you and I. And of course, the same with generals. I mean, we're all human, we make mistakes, and we're all different. That's what it is. As
you look around the world today, Field Marshal, do you see the need for leadership still there?
Oh, terribly. Terribly. And I see it in industry. I think many of the problems that go on in the world today is due to the bad leadership on the parts of the people in high places.
Do you see it in universities?
Well, I've not seen it here. I mean, I did say when I made a speech the other day that the students in Europe, in England, Paris, Germany, they seem to have gone mad. For the moment, you're all right here. For the moment, you mustn't let. They seem more docile here.
They're not more docile. They're just slightly more intelligent and mature. But